Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys of all ages, this is Alex with MTG Magic is Fun, and we're gonna do a deck tech for you. See, gonna start it off real good. All right, we're doing the Lysaga. The Lysaga is a one green black. Says tap, sacrifice for 3 permanents. If there are 3 or more card types among these sacrifice permanents, each opponent loses 3 life. You gain 3 life, and you draw 3 cards. Most important part is it says up to 3 permanents. So we don't have to sack 3 permanents, we just have to get 3 card types. So let's look through our deck. We got some stuff with multiple card types. And here we go. We're going to start the lands. Dryad Arbor is a land creature, multiple types. Blinkmoth Nexus can become all 3 types at once, which is amazing. In fact, the best part about Blinkmoth is you can tap it for a colorless mana and then use that mana to make it into that and then sack it. Seems good. Then we have some fetches, Bajuka Bog, Darkmoth's Bridge, Artifact Land, Darksteel Citadel, Artifact Land, Field of Dead to make some zombie tokens to sack, Glacial Chasm just in case we, can't handle someone's board state. See some fetches, Mishra's Factory, same as Blinkmoth. Reliquary Tower, so when you're drawing 3 to 6 cards a turn, or more, depending on what happens, you need to be able to not have to discard those cards. Tree of Tales, Artifact Land. We got some basics, of course, because basics are important. Vault of Whispers, Urborg, and Yavimaya, so we can make everything swamps or everything forests. A few more fetches, and, just in case, we got the old Westfell Abbey. There's nothing better than making a big old flying lifelink indestructible haste creature, if we must. 0 drops, Zuran Orb, sack land, gain 2 life, which you'll see later on that might be important. Ornithopter is a 0 drop artifact creature, so 2 types for 0, seems fine. Kai's Ghost Form, enchantment, whenever you put it on your creature. That creature gets exiled or killed, it comes back. Seems good. Unearth brings back our commander from the graveyard and a bunch of other stuff in our deck. Seems fine. Viscera's here. Sack creature, scry 1. There's a lot of aristocrat stuff in here that'll be helpful. Exploration, play an extra land. Sounds good. Gilded Goose. Mana dork, but mostly it's a creature and an artifact when it enters the battlefield. You get 1 of each. So there's 2 or 3 types. Instill Energy. Says the creature has haste, and also says pay 0, untap enchanted creature once only on your turn. But that's fine. We'll just use Lysaga twice. Quarian Ranger says return a forest to your hand, untap target creature. Rancor, recurable enchantment. Basically, every time it dies, you get it back, so we can sack it constantly. It also gets +2/+0 and trample to a creature. Seems fine. The old Soul Ring. Pay 1, tap for 2. Okay. Animate Dead, an enchantment, gets the creature back from the graveyard. And worst case is, you can tap Lysaga, sack the enchantment and the creature and something else, and try to get your types in. That works. Blood Artist, whenever a creature or Blood Artist dies, the target player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Okay. Deadly Dispute, really great card. Sack an artifact or enchantment, or artifact or creature, draw 2 cards, create a treasure token, which is interesting because sacking a creature can sometimes get us some of our effects. Stacking an artifact can do different things. You'll see it's just a good card. Wishclaw Talisman, awesome card. 1 in a black, comes with 3 wish counters. You pay 1, tap, remove a wish counter, search library for card, put it in your hand, and then your opponent gains control of it. Well, that's not going to happen. What we're going to do is we're going to pay 1, we're going to tap it, we're going to hold priority, we're going to tap Lysaga, we're going to sack the Wishclaw Talisman. So we're still going to get our card from our library, but we're also going to be able to get rid of it and not give it to our opponent. Then we have Zombie Infestation. Discard 2 cards, treat a 2/2 black zombie creature token. We have Zulport Cutthroat, more aristocrats. We have Bloodghast, recurable creature. Sack it to Lysaga, and guess what? Play land, bring it right back. Cream of the Crop is a 1 in a green. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's power. If you do, put 1 of those cards in the top of your library and the rest on the bottom. So we can fix the top of our library if we want to. It sucks that it's only 1 card, but pick the best one for what we're getting ready to do and do it. Cryptolithrite, 1 and a green. Says creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. We're going to make some tokens. Tapping tokens for mana seems fine. Return to nature. Obviously, we need to destroy artifacts and enchantments and get rid of stuff from graveyards. So, seems fine. Grave Ranger. Just like Grand Ranger, you return a force to your hand, untap target creature, activate once per turn. Except for this, it's a 2-drop that has flash flying protection for blue. Tear Asunder, 1 and a green, 1 and a black kicker, exile target artifact or enchantment. If that was mana was spent to kicked, exile target non-land permanent instead. So, exile is important. Astrophy, green and black, destroy target permanent, your opponent looks for land. That's the only downside. Rush Rebirth, green and black, choose target creature. When it dies, search your library for a creature card with lesser mana value, put it on the battlefield, tapped, shuffle your library. Yeah. So look at this one more time. It doesn't say choose one of your creatures, it says choose target creature. So one of your you can choose whatever your opponent has, and you can make this card very valuable. Ichor Wellspring, 2-drop, enters the battlefield, draw a card, leaves the battlefield, draw a card. So it's fine, counts as an artifact. We'll sack it, we'll draw a card. Hopefully it'll count one of our 3 types. Liquid Metal Torque, 2-drop, taps for mana. Also says target non-land permanent becomes an artifact. So we can turn stuff into artifacts to help add creature types. Mycosynth Wellspring, kind of like the Ichor Wellspring, except for this one, you search library for a land, put in your hand. When it enters the battlefield, it leaves the battlefield. So gives us some mana out of our deck. And obviously, 100-card deck's hard to thin, but you know what? We're going to get a lot of cards out of our deck pretty fast. Next up, good old 2-drop, Throne of the God Pharaoh. At the beginning of your instep, each opponent loses life equals the number of tapped creatures you control. This is really good with Cryptolithrite. We can tap a bunch of creatures to make mana, cast spells, and guess what? Our opponents are going to lose life. And it also says, as we can see, each opponent, not just one. Agent of the Iron Throne, 2 and a black. Commander creature you control have whenever an artifact creature is put into a graveyard, each opponent loses a life. So we get rid of artifacts and any creatures, and people lose life. Seems fine. Bastion of Remembrance, whenever a creature controlled dies, each opponent loses 1 life. I gain 1 life. Also makes it 1/1. Grim Harvestbacks, 2 and black. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. We have Toxic Deluge, 2 and black, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end turn. Works around Indestructible, works around a lot of things. 2 and black, Veto the Thorn of the Dust Rose. Whenever you gain a life, our opponent loses that much life. So every time we gain 3 Baba Lysaga, we can target someone, they'll lose 3 extra life. So you might hit one person for 6, gain 3 life, and draw 3 cards in 1 turn. Next up is Azusa, 2 and green. Play 2 additional lands. Landfall's big. Chatterfang, 2 and green. Force Walk. If one or more tokens will be created under your control, those tokens create those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens that are created instead. So if we make a token, we make a squirrel. In there, we're going to see here in a minute, we're going to see we have Academy Manufacturer and Tireless Tracker and like Tireless Provisioner, which means if we make 3 tokens, we make 3 squirrels. Okay, seems good. Also, it says to pay a black, sack X squirrels, target creature gets +X, -X till end of turn. That is amazing. Pay a black, sack some squirrels, and in an aristocrat deck, hopefully we got Blood Art out or Zulport Cutthroat out, and guess what? Those squirrels are going to do damage, we're going to gain life, we're going to kill a creature. There's a lot going on there. Next up, Dry Listen Grove. Play an additional land on each of your turns. It fixes our lands. Seems good. It's also an enchantment creature, which is relevant. After that, we have Crossing Grip. 2 and a green, instant, split second, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Gets rid of Sensei's Divine Top. Seems good. Ramanop Excavator, 2 and a green. You may play lands from your graveyard. Okay. Rex Sage, 2 and a green. Winner's Battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. 2 and a green, Scoot Swarm. Landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm. This card gets ridiculous. You just keep doubling up. You remember when you get 6 lands out, you start doubling Scoot Swarms. They just keep doubling up. We have Tireless Provisioner at 2 and a green. Landfall, whenever land is battlefield under your control, create a food or treasure token. I love the idea of making treasure every time I play a land. Tireless Tracker makes a clue every time you play a land, as well as whenever a sack clue, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So it can grow pretty quick. 1 green, Eternal Witness. When Eternal Witness enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Seems good. Journey to Eternity, 1 green/black. Enchant creature. When that creature dies, return to the battlefield, and then transform Journey to Eternity into a legendary land that taps for 1 mana of any color, or has 3 green/black, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. We have Academy Manufacturer, costs 3. If you would create a clue, food, or treasure, instead create 1 of each. Pay 3, cast Crucible Worlds. You may play lands from your graveyard. 3-drop, 1,000-year elixir. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though they had haste. Pay 1, tap, untap target creature. 4 drops, 2 and 2 black. Destroy Damnation. Destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated. Splendid Reclamation, 3 and a green. Return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. World Shaper, 3 and a green. Whenever World Shaper attacks, you will mill 3 cards. Whenever World Shaper dies, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Sounds good. Mortality Sphere. It's a 2 black and a green instant. Costs 2 us to cast if you gain life this turn. Destroy target non-land permanent. And with any luck, we're gaining 3 life of Lysaga, and then we're destroying a non-land permanent for 1 of a green. And we don't have to give them a land like we do with Assassin's Trophy. Next up, Aetherworks Marvel. We're going to be sacking a ton of stuff. A bunch of permanents are going to leave the battlefield. Every time a permanent leaves the battlefield and put it in the graveyard, we get an energy counter. Tap, pay 6 energy, lose top 6 cards your library, cast something for free. Okay. Sad Robot, costs 4, enters the battlefield, search your library for a base land card, put the card on the battlefield tab, shuffle. When it leaves the battlefield, draw a card. And it's also an artifact creature. So 2 card types, and draws a card when it leaves the battlefield. Seems fine. Next up is 5 drops, 3 and 2 black. Target opponent puts the cards from their hand on top of their library. Search that player's library for that many cards. Put the cards in their hand. So basically, they're going to put their hand on top of the library. So they have 5 cards in hand. We're going to search the library for 5 cards. We're going to put them in their hand. We can either give them 5 cards they can't cast, or we can give them 5 lands, or we can just whatever ignorant stuff we decide to do. Or we literally, if we know we're going to lose anyway, let's just fill one of our opponent's hands with stuff we know is going to beat the hell out of the other opponents. Why not? Politics. Next up, Sir Conrad, 3 and 2 black. Whenever another creature dies, or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent. It also has 1 of black, each player mills a card. Next up, 3 and 2 green, the Mending of Dominaria. Enchantment Saga starts with mill 2 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Do that again, and then third, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, then shuffle your graveyard into your library. Important part here, returns all lands to your graveyard. It doesn't say tapped. They just come back. And we got the Ugin's Nexus. If a player would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. 1 Ugin's Nexus we put into a graveyard from the battlefield. Instead, exile it and take an extra turn after this one. Then we have the 6 drops. Now this card is ridiculous in this deck. Marionette Master is 4 and 2 black, fabricate 3, which means you can put 3 counters on it or make 3 servos. Whenever an artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. So we're going to put 3 counters on it. It's going to become a 4/3. We sack a treasure token, we do 4 damage to target opponent. We tap out Lysaga, we sack some artifacts. For each one of them, we're going to do 4 damage to target opponent. So there's several ways this card gets ridiculous real fast. And the last couple times I played it, it did 16 damage 1 turn, 24 damage another turn, and I believe the last time I played was like 12 or 20 damage. It's ridiculous. Typically, you're getting a bunch of... It's just really good if it comes on the battlefield. Next up, another card that's ridiculous. 5 and a green, the old Fangren Marauder. Whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard, or a graveyard from the battlefield, you may gain 5 life. And it's a 5/5. Now read that again. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard, not your graveyard, whenever any artifact on the battlefield is put into a graveyard, you can choose to gain 5 life. Put that together with Veto, you gain 5 life, you do 5 damage to target opponent. Sure. Last but not least, we have another 6-drop, 4 and 2 green, the old Rampaging Baloth, 6/6 trample. When a land enters the battlefield under control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. So guess what? It's a 6/6 with trample making 4/4s on landfall. And we play a lot of lands, we also have a lot of fetches. Yeah. Usually by the time stuff comes like something like that comes out, you're making a bunch of tokens and you're beating up your opponent. And making tokens is great too, because guess what? There's a creature to sack. You don't feel bad about sacking because you're gonna make another one probably. So that's the Bobble Saga. This deck is a lot of fun to play. I'm still working on it constantly. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. I'd love to see what people think about the deck and think, that would be good in the deck, because I'm always interested in trying new stuff. So, again, this is Alex, MTG, Magic is Fun. Thanks for watching the video. Please like it. Please subscribe if you're interested. I'll be making some more content. I'm kind of new to the game, but I'd like to make some content. I like making Commander. I think it's fun. I think it's a great format. I think there's just so much to do and so many cards to play and so many games to play. So, let's, it's just so much fun. Like I said, Magic is fun. So, again, let me know in the comments if there's anything you can see that I could do better or try differently or whatever else. And like always, get wrecked, nerds.